Welcome to part 3 of the Vanessa Guillen story. As a reminder, topics may be triggering. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. The parties mentioned are innocent until proven guilty in court. The Llorona of the story has a name. Cecily Ann Aguilar was 22 when this real-life horror happened. She was born on June 8th, 1998. She is a white female, 5'1", 166 pounds. Her maiden name is Cecily Ann Brown, but changed it after she married Keon Aguilar, a former Army soldier who was also stationed at Fort Hood. That's right, esta pinche vieja, Aaron's girlfriend, was still legally married. She was living in Fort Hood with her husband when Aaron Robinson moved in with them in December of 2019. She told people Aaron was her husband's friend, but later moved out of her husband's house and Aaron followed. They were now living together on an off-base residence. On June 10th of 2020, the Army held a press conference advising that Vanessa had been a victim of sexual assault but did not feel comfortable reporting it to her commanders. On June 12th of 2020, La Familia Guillen held a protest near Fort Hood, demanding answers and information regarding the search for Vanessa. On June 21st of 2020, authorities suspected foul play was involved in the disappearance of Vanessa. Location data recovered from Aaron's phone put his phone in a location in Belton, Texas. Aaron was near the Leon River on April 23rd of 2020 at 1:59 a.m. and at another location north of the river for a duration of 2 hours. On June 30th, of 2020, around noon, construction workers building a fence close to the Leon River in Belton, Texas, about 25 miles from Fort Hood, discovered buried, scattered remains in concrete. They call the authorities, and DNA evidence tragically confirms the remains belong to Vanessa Guillen. The CID contacted the Guillen family at 1:31 p.m. and relayed the catastrophic, grievous news. The hashtag Find Vanessa Guillen turned to hashtag Justice for Vanessa Guillen within 2 months. A half-burned 3-foot pelican tough box was also found near where her remains were discovered. Vanessa's blood was also found in the armory where Aaron worked. On June 30th, around 5 p.m., the CID called Aaron's unit leader and requested he be put under strict observation for 24 hours because he was a person of interest in Vanessa's case. He was not legally detained or under arrest. However, at this point, the authorities already knew. His phone had pinged late at night in the same area where Vanessa's remains were found. After receiving that call from the CID, Aaron's supervisors developed a plan. He was placed to be quarantined because he came in contact with a coworker who tested positive for COVID-19. So they used that as a ruse and told him that he needed to be guarded because he was in violation of COVID-19 quarantine protocols. The report from the CID about this incident says, and I quote, "He was restricted to a conference room with one entry point, and he would sleep there under the watch of a non-commissioned officer on rotating shifts with another supervisor who regularly looked into the room. The guard was unarmed, and Aaron kept his cell phone, which he used all night. The senior enlisted leader guarding Aaron left after an hour and did not update the guard that was taking over his shift about the details of Aaron's status. The Army commanders were afraid he would notice he was a murder suspect and try to flee. So much so that on June 30th of 2020 at 10 p.m., a commanding officer sent a text to a group chat containing a bunch of unit leaders, and I quote, "tackle his ass and call the MPs if Aaron fled." MP meaning the military police. At 10:02 p.m., Aaron calls his mom and said, "Don't believe what you hear about me." He whispers something else that cannot be heard. He hangs up and stood by the door and leaned on it until the guard told him to sit. Aaron booked it out of the room at 10:05 p.m. His guard chased him and the military police arrived within 2 minutes. Aaron calls Cecily after he texted her screenshots of news stories wherein the discovery of Vanessa's remains is disclosed. "Baby, they found the pieces," he tells her. The fact he had access to his cell phone and car is insane to me. Cecily assisted the police chase Aaron. These hoes ain't loyal. On July 1st of 2020 at 1 a.m., as the police finally caught up to Aaron, where he was at the entrance gate at the 4700 block of East Rancier Avenue, as they were closing in on him, he takes out a gun and unalives himself 4 miles east of Fort Hood entrance and was pronounced dead at 1:17 a.m. The gun he used to unalive himself was not a registered military weapon, therefore not something he grabbed from his weapons room. After this catastrophic failure, the Secretary of the Army fired and suspended 14 Fort Hood commanding officers in Vanessa's command chain. When questioned by police, Cecily denied any involvement in Vanessa's murder until the day Vanessa's remains were found.